Welcome to CYSC 5305, Introduction to Information Systems Assurance. This PowerPoint will be an overview for Chapters 1 and 2 in CYSC 5305, Information Systems Assurance class. The learning objectives and key concepts for Chapter 1. Learning objectives describe information system security, information assurance, and governance, and the importance of ISS policies. The key concepts include ISS, or Information System Security Management Lifecycle, information assurance, information security governance, and information security systems policies. What is information system security? It's the act of protecting information and the systems that store and process it. The protection is against risks that would lead to the following negative actions against information: unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, modification, and destruction. Just think of how far we've come with the internet usage and technology since the 1980s. With e-commerce, the use of technology in business, and that's the reason information security is imperative today. Information System Security Management Lifecycle. Information security controls and processes use common approaches that simplify the build and reduce mistakes. A typical life cycle process breaks up tasks into smaller, more manageable phases. Control objectives for information and related technology is more than just a life cycle. It's a framework for managing and governing IT processes. These types of frameworks allow businesses to align themselves to outcomes that they and their customers expect. Information System Security Management Lifecycle includes these components. First, align, plan, and organize. What do you want to do? How do you want to get there? Service level agreements, or SLAs. Next is bill, acquire, and implement. Schedules, deliverables, bills, change management. Next is deliver service and support. Analyze data, review SLAs, communicate with vendors, perform penetration testing, make critical adjustments, monitor, evaluate, and assess, test and monitor controls, analyze effectiveness, perform internal and external auditing. Information System Security Management Lifecycle. Common types of assessments and audits. Self-assessment, typically in the form of quality assurance and quality control. Internal audit consists of reports to the board of directors and assesses the business. External audit, performed by an outside firm hired by the company to validate internal audit work and perform special assessments such as certifying annual financial statements. Lastly, regulator audit, performed by government agencies that assess the company's compliance with laws and regulations. ISO/IEC 38500 is the standard for information security assurance. I'd like to go over some of those, what the standard actually is comprised of. It provides guiding principles for members of governing bodies of organizations, which can comprise owners, directors, partners, executive managers, or similar, on the effective, efficient, and acceptable use of information technology within their organizations. It also provides guidance to those advising, informing, or assisting governing bodies. They include the following: executive managers, members of group monitoring, the resources within the organization, external business or technical specialists such as legal or accounting specialists, retail or industrial associations, or professional bodies, internal and external service providers, including consultants and auditors. What is information assurance? Some of those components are availability, integrity, confidentiality, authentication, and non-repudiation. The confidentiality tenet allows that anyone that's entering data or accessing data only has access or inputs what they're authorized to do so. And that is an effort to sustain confidentiality in the actual data. In the integrity tenet, just think about you have a large database. Let's talk about a large hospital, and they have patient records, insurance, scheduling and maintenance, emergency rooms, all kinds of different items. You don't want everybody in the organization to have access to that information. You only want the people that are authorized and have a need to actually see the information or add to or subtract from the information. What is information system security governance? It's a concept and a set of specific actions an organization takes to ensure compliance with its policies, processes, standards, and guidelines. You have quality assurance, which functions act as a preventative control. When quality assurance works well, it prevents mistakes from happening. Then you have quality control, which functions as a detective control. When quality control works well, it improves the quality over time by affording opportunities to learn from past mistakes. You might ask yourself, why is governance important? It provides assurance and confidence that rules are being followed. Senior management needs to know business objectives are being met. If rules are being followed, there is some assurance the value promised to the business is being delivered. Senior management needs to know that the investment the organization has made is being properly managed. Regulators look at governance structure for assurance that risks to shareholders, customers, and the public are being properly managed. Effective governance embraces quality assurance and quality control as part of the culture. Importance of governance is evident in a configuration management process. What are information system security policies? We have principles, established tone at the top, and authority by which policies are enforced, and policies define how an organization performs and conducts business functions and transactions with a desired outcome. And then lastly, standards, established methods implemented organization-wide. What are information system security policies? It starts with procedures. These are steps required to implement a process. Then we move to guidelines, parameters which a policy, standard, or procedure is suggested. And then you have the definitions. These are statements that define terms used in policy documents and set contexts in which policy documents are interpreted. Internal versus external documents. Let's look at policies principles document. This communicates general rules that cut across the entire organization. Principles are written in plain English and focus on key risks or behaviors. Then policy is a document that states how the organization is to perform. It describes how to conduct business functions and transactions with the desired outcome. Then the procedure is a written statement describing the steps required to implement a process. Remember that procedures support policies and standards. Then the guideline sets the parameters within which a policy, standard, or procedure can be used. A guideline is optional. It is a policy support document. A policy definition document is often overlooked, however, yet it's enormously important. It's often used by auditors and regulators when evaluating the soundness of controls. How policies differ from standards and procedures. How policies and standards differ? Policies implement controls on a system to make it compliant to a standard, whereas standards influence the creation of policies, often determine a minimum requirement but can be very detailed in nature, and they often start with industry norms. How policies and procedures differ? Policies are requirements placed on processes. Procedures are the technical steps taken to achieve policy goals. They can contain step-by-step instructions on the performance of a task. They can identify how to respond to an incident. COBIT, or Control Objectives for Information Technology. ISO 17799, also known as ISO/IEC 17799, is an international standard that provides guidelines and best practices for information security management. It has been superseded by ISO/IEC 27002, which is the current version of the standard. NIST 800-12 provides assistance in securing computer-based resources, including hardware, software, and information, by explaining important concepts, cost considerations, and interrelationships of security controls. SANS is an institute which is private is in the U.S. for-profit company founded in 1989 that specializes in information security, cybersecurity training, and selling certificates. And they have several training programs to effect. Where do information system security policies fit within an organization? Governance over information security policies fits at more management levels. Consequently, both business and technology leaders work closely together to ensure value is delivered. However, the actual implementation of information security policy is far more complex and requires deep technical knowledge. The implementation of ISS, or Information System Security Policies, often falls to the technology teams of an organization. Why information system security policies are important. They protect systems from the insider threat. They protect information at rest and in transit. For example, data is generally in one of two states: data at rest, such as a backup tape, or data in transit, such as when traveling across a network. And they control change to IT infrastructures. Change is good, managing change is better. Then defending the business, ensuring that the business can deliver reliable products and or services will protect the company's brand. When do you need information system security? Timing is everything. This is most likely the number one tenet of comedians. The same applies to the timeliness of policies. They implement a policy on milking cows when your business model raises chickens. The possibility exists that your farm will expand operations one day, but there is no reason to write policies until that expansion occurs. Why enforcing and winning acceptance for policies is challenging. Policy acceptance challenges organizational support at all levels, giving employees a stake, policy awareness and understanding, rewarding and recognizing behavior, and holding individuals accountable. Then under policy enforcement challenges, you have poorly written policies, failure to report infrastructures, lack of involvement in enforcement of key departments and management, and a lack of clearly defined roles and responsibilities. In summary, we have ISS, Management Life Cycle. You have the information assurance, IA, information security governance, and information security policies. Thank you so much for listening to these slides.